Hello and welcome to this training today on Synergy Worldwide's competitive advantage. I hope that through this training you'll come to understand and appreciate the true detail and the amount of work that goes into the manufacturing of ProArgi-9 Plus, and that through this training you'll have greater confidence and a greater understanding of the product formulation, of the quality assurance, and of the manufacturing process behind ProArgi-9 Plus. My hope is that over the next 30 to 40 minutes you will learn more about this product and have greater confidence as you share this product with your friends, with your family members, with your customers or potential prospects that you have. And so today, as we are going to talk about the competitive advantage of Synergy Worldwide as it relates to ProArgi-9 Plus, there's a few different things that we're going to be talking about. First and foremost, what I'd like to do is highlight the science behind the product. What is it about the science that makes this product work? Secondly, we're also going to talk about the formulation itself. As with any product, specifically as it relates to your health, it's important that you have a proper formulation with the proper ingredients that can work together to provide the body with the best benefit, the most benefit as possible. And then we'll also be talking about the quality assurance process, really the manufacturing process behind ProArgi-9 Plus. And that is something that greatly sets us apart when we talk about our product and the competitive advantage that we have over the competition. It's really the quality that we take in making sure that our product from start to finish is of the highest in the world. In fact, as you look at this next slide, as it says first in quality from start to finish, it's so important that you understand that the very first thing that really sets us apart that we're going to be talking about here in just a little bit is that we start with the very best. The only way to be first in quality, to have a high quality product, is to always start with the best materials as possible. And so we truly believe here at Synergy Worldwide that ProArgi-9 Plus is the best L-arginine supplement out there. And that is because we have great confidence in what we do, we have confidence in what we say, and we know exactly what is in our product. And so throughout this training, as I said before, over the next 30 to 40 minutes, we'll be kind of dissecting the manufacturing process and talking in detail about the formulation that is ProArgi-9 Plus. Now, to begin, as I had mentioned before, the first thing that I would like to talk about is the science behind ProArgi-9 Plus. What is it that really that makes this product so beneficial to the human body? And the fact of the matter is it is a science. Now, before I dive into the science, I want to explain a little bit our relationship that we have with Nature's Sunshine products, because that is a great benefit that we have that really truly sets us apart in helping us set us apart from the competition. Now, Nature's Sunshine Products it was founded in 1972, so they've been around for nearly 4 decades. And the reputation of Nature's Sunshine Products, they've always been known for their superior manufacturing abilities of manufacturing high-quality products. And that relationship with NSP was formed in the year 2000. And because of that relationship, we are able to benefit and work side by side with Nature's Sunshine Products as we formulate and as we manufacture and produce our own products. And so as you look at the two companies, as you look at Nature's Sunshine Products, as you combine their experience, their expertise in product manufacturing and product formulation, and combine that with the innovation, with the mission, and with the vision of Synergy Worldwide, we really believe that this makes us the best in the world, and that lends itself directly to the products. And so as we dive into talking about the product science, it's important that you understand where it all began. What is it about L-arginine? How does that correlate necessarily with heart health? And so this slide, as you can see here, in 1998, there were 3 scientists that were awarded the Nobel Prize for their discoveries concerning nitric oxide as a signaling molecule in the cardiovascular system. And that is something that is so important to understand, because nitric oxide, as you can see on this next screen, it is a gas. Now this gas, this nitric oxide gas, is produced by the innermost cell layer of the arteries. And as it is produced, the way that it lends itself, that it benefits the body, is it helps to dilate the arteries. Now what does that do? As you dilate the arteries, as you can see on the next few bullets, number one, it will help regulate blood pressure. And then secondly, enhances blood flow to organs and the entire body. Now I hope that as we talk about the cardiovascular system, as we talk about circulation and the benefits of nitric oxide and how that necessarily correlates with ProArgi-9 Plus, you can come to understand and really appreciate the benefits that lends itself, that gives to the human body. Now, the last bullet on this slide, as you can see, it says enhances blood flow to organs and the entire body. Why is that so important? If you or anyone that you know has used or currently uses ProArgi-9 Plus, you will most likely have heard many different experiences, different testimonials about the product. People all over the world are receiving incredible benefits from ProArgi-9 Plus. Why? Because in part, as you look at the benefits of the product, one of the many benefits is that it enhances blood flow to organs in the entire body. Now, to give you an example of why that is so important, if you were to take some sort of rubber band and if you were to cut off your circulation to any of your extremities, whether it's your hand or your arm or your legs or your feet, if you were to cut off that blood supply, what would happen to that extremity? Well, eventually, if it didn't receive any circulation, it would die. You would have no use of that extremity. And likewise, if we cut off circulation, if we don't have proper circulation to the many organs within our bodies or the cells that are spread throughout our bodies, if those cells or those organs are not receiving the benefits that comes from circulation, the oxygen, the vitamins, the minerals that are necessary for life, if those cells and those organs do not receive that, then that's when your body is going to have a difficult time. And so we're going to talk, as I talk a little bit more about product formulation, I'll talk specifically of how L-arginine works to be able to do this, to be able to provide this effect or this benefit of nitric oxide within the human body. Now, as I said at the start, the most important thing that you can do at the very beginning is to start with the best. If you're wanting to create the best product in the world, which we feel we have done with ProArgi-9 Plus, you must start with the very best raw materials. In order to finish with a good, perfect product, you must start with good and perfect raw materials. If you don't, if you have just regular raw materials that aren't really that great, but they'll do the job, then you know what? Your finished product is probably going to be of the same quality. And so it's important that you start with the purest, the most effective, and the safest raw materials so that your finished product will be pure, it will be safe, and it will be effective. And that is exactly what we have done here at Synergy Worldwide. As you can see here, sourcing is critical for the highest quality dietary supplements. It's critical. If you do not do it, as I said before, your end product will not be of the quality that you desire. Now, at Synergy Worldwide, we start with only the highest quality raw materials sourced throughout the world. How do we know this? Because we select them. We hand select who our vendors are, and we hand select the materials that we use within our products. In the next bullet, you can see it says our raw materials are grown in choice fields all over the world and harvested according to strict Synergy specifications. And I'm going to be talking here just briefly here in just a second about kind of our specifications and the things that we do with our vendors to ensure that this indeed is the case, that we have the best starting materials possible. Now, a common question that we sometimes get is how come at Synergy Worldwide we don't have our own farms? How come we don't grow our own raw materials so that we can regulate exactly what gets put into the soil and what is used on those raw materials so that we can have the product that we desire? And the answer to that is, if we were to have our own farms, we would have to rely completely 100% on our ability to grow that product in whatever location that is in. That means if a weather pattern were to come, if something were to happen, where a disaster were to happen at that portion of the world, and our farm were to get destroyed, where would we get our raw materials from? The way that we are doing it currently, the fact that we can choose the best raw materials throughout the world, we can go and search out the best farms, the best raw materials suppliers possible, and ensure that day to day, year to year, we are obtaining the very best raw materials possible. And then the very last thing, it says we audit our suppliers to assure that they comply with all cleanliness and good manufacturing practices. And that is exactly what we do when we go out with Nature's Sunshine Products and Synergy Worldwide, when we go and we audit the vendors whom we get our raw materials from. As you can see here, every supplier must go through an audition step, and within that audition step, these are the 4 different things that they must do. There's a sample evaluation and testing that is done by quality control and research and development. And so any raw material vendor that we are looking into as a possible future vendor for us, we will request a sample of a specific material that we are looking for. Now that sample is then, as it says here, evaluated, and it is tested by quality control and by research and development. And if after that test, after those tests are completed, if we are satisfied with the purity, with the effectiveness, with the potency of that specific sample, then we'll go on with the subsequent steps. There's also a vendor survey that is completed. And then once we are really invested and we feel like we are almost satisfied with what we have received, there's a vendor audit where we'll actually go on site to wherever that vendor is located in the world, and we will perform an on-site inspection. Now, the very first thing that we do at an on-site inspection that I'm sure everyone would think about, but you may not realize how important it is. But when I tell you, I know you'll realize how important it is. When we go to a specific vendor, we will go. The very first thing that we do is check their employee bathrooms. If their employee bathrooms do not have hot water and soap, that combination, if those are not present, then that vendor automatically fails, and we walk right out the door, and we do not proceed with any sort of relationship with that vendor. And so that is something, one of the many things that truly sets us apart is that we know exactly where our raw materials are coming from, and we can vouch for the vendors that are providing us those raw materials. We know exactly how they are manufacturing those raw materials. We know where they are coming from. And in fact, once we actually receive that raw material, we go a step above and beyond, and we will retest it. And so the formulation itself with ProArgi-9 Plus, this is very important. It's important that you understand that a formula or a formulation for a specific product isn't something that was, or at least it should not be, haphazardly done just to be able to get a product out there on the shelf. It's important that you understand that another thing that sets Synergy Worldwide apart with ProArgi-9 Plus and with all of our products is that here with ProArgi-9 Plus, it is scientifically based. The formulation that was put together for ProArgi-9 Plus was done hand in hand with scientists, with researchers, and with doctors who have experience with not only nutritional supplements, but also specifically relating to the amino acid L-arginine. And so this formulation of ProArgi-9 Plus is scientifically based. It is a unique formula. This formula is not found anywhere else. It's something that is proprietary to Synergy Worldwide. And because of this, of what I have talked about so far and what I'm going to be talking about, there are great testimonials that we hear all over the world. These testimonials are coming in every single day, and the reason for it being is because we have a high-quality product that offers consistent results. And that's the key word, is consistent. With every canister of ProArgi-9 Plus, we know exactly what it will contain, and we know every canister, every batch that we create will be identical. And we can vouch for that, and we can guarantee that. Now, in talking more about formulation, when we're formulating a product, and specifically with ProArgi-9 Plus, there are key aspects in formulating the highest quality L-arginine supplement. And these are two very important points. The first of which is determining what natural ingredients will work together. And that's where, if I go back to the previous slide, scientifically based. That's why that is so important. If you have the right people, the right personnel that are knowledgeable, that have researched, that have studied this information, they can contribute and provide a formulation that will offer the optimal results for the human body. And that is what we have done with ProArgi-9 Plus. Next, it says determining what form of the natural ingredient will have the optimum effect on the body. There are many different forms for specific ingredients, and that's why it is so important to be able to have the right personnel that is there together to be able to put together the proper formulation that will lend itself to the best results for the human body. And that is what we have done with ProArgi-9 Plus. Now, in looking at some of the ingredients, I'd like to highlight some of the main ingredients within ProArgi-9 Plus, and the first of which is L-arginine. What is L-arginine, and how does it relate directly to the benefit of the cardiovascular system? Well, first of all, L-arginine, it is an amino acid. And this amino acid, the way that we get it is we isolate it and we purify it from a fermentation process of carbohydrates. And we derive it specifically from tapioca, from maize or corn, or cane sugar. So one of those three sources, depending on the time of the year and the vendors that we're using. Now the benefits of this, the benefits of L-arginine, is that it converts the nitric oxide through a process called nitric oxide synthase. That's actually an enzyme that is utilized or that is found within the body that converts the L-arginine to nitric oxide. Now, as we talked about before, nitric oxide then promotes enhanced cardiovascular function throughout your body. It promotes, as we talked about, the enhancement of blood flow to vital organs and to the different cells within your body. And so that is how L-arginine correlates to cardiovascular function, is it's able to be converted naturally within the body to nitric oxide. Now, when back in 1998, as we talked about the Nobel Prize, L-arginine specifically was used, or they found that L-arginine would only last within the system for just a couple seconds. It had a very short lifespan as it converted into nitric oxide. And for that purpose, they suggested that, or people talked about after studying the effect of L-citrulline, and that's the next ingredient I'd like to highlight. L-citrulline is also an amino acid. It, in a very similar fashion, but a little bit different of a process, it's isolated and purified from the fermentation of carbohydrates, just as with L-arginine, from tapioca, maize, or cane sugar. And the benefits of L-citrulline is that it enhances the benefits of L-arginine. And what do we mean by that? How does it enhance the benefits of L-arginine? L-citrulline, in fact, is able to be converted into L-arginine. And so if you have an amino acid that can last longer in the body, just like L-citrulline, it can be converted into L-arginine, which then, with the enzyme of nitric oxide synthase, can be converted into nitric oxide within the body. And so L-citrulline combined with L-arginine allows for this process to happen for a longer period of time, in fact up to 36 hours within the body. And so that is the importance of L-citrulline and why it is in ProArgi-9 Plus. Now the next one that I'd like to highlight is vitamin D3. Now, well, I guess it says vitamin D here, but specifically within ProArgi-9 Plus is vitamin D3. So I'd like to make sure that we understand the difference between vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. We're also going to talk about vitamin D and how it relates to bone health, to muscle strength and to balance, to cardiovascular health, and so on and so forth. And so vitamin D, scientific studies have shown that vitamin D in the form of D3 is actually better absorbed and more efficient in raising blood levels of vitamin D. D2 was shown to be less than 1/3 as effective as D3 for raising serum levels. And so that is what we're looking for when you're consuming a vitamin D supplement, is you want to be able to you want to be able to increase your blood serum levels of vitamin D. And that is done more efficiently and more effectively with vitamin D3, which is why we have put vitamin D3 as opposed to vitamin D2 in ProArgi-9 Plus. Now, bone health. How does it relate to bone health? Vitamin D has always been known to show, or at least within the body, to help keep calcium, to help increase the absorption of calcium into the bones. And this actually has a very strong correlation with another ingredient that we're going to be talking about, which is vitamin K2. But vitamin D, in helping to make sure that calcium is in our bones, that is very important with concerns of osteoporosis out there. We want to make sure that we have strong bones, but likewise, why would it be important to keep calcium out of our arteries? Well, if you know anything about atherosclerosis, that happens when there's an increased amount of calcium within the arteries, and there's calcium deposits or calcium buildup within the arteries themselves. And so vitamin D works in that process and assists in helping the absorption of calcium in the proper place of putting it directly into the bones. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is specifically how much is enough when we're talking about vitamin D. And to be honest, that question, the answer to that question really depends on who you ask. But if you were to look at the recommended values, right now the recommended daily intake is between 400 and 600 IUs per day. But however, if you were to really look at this and know anything about vitamin D, this really isn't considered the optimal amount. This is simply enough to prevent a deficiency disease like rickets. And so depending on who you ask, researchers say that 10,000 IUs per day should be set as the tolerable upper intake level with a minimum of 4,000 per day to achieve good vitamin D blood levels. Now, if you were to look at deficiency, you definitely do not want to be deficient. However, all over the world, in North America and all over the world, there is a very common deficiency with this specific vitamin, vitamin D. Now, latitude is something that obviously causes deficiency. In fact, if we were to look at specific parts of the world, for example, Boston, Massachusetts, so if we were, let's first start with Boston. If you look at Boston, Massachusetts, because of where they are geographically on the Earth, they actually go through a 4-month vitamin D winter, where regardless of how much time they spend outside in the sun, there is not sufficient rays or sufficient ability for the body to get the vitamin D or produce the vitamin D that it needs. If you're to go into northern Canada or Europe, they actually have a 6-month winter. And so those deficiencies are things that are out of our control unless we want to pick up and move and go to a different part of the world. And so that's when supplementation, of course, is very beneficial and very important. Also, avoiding sun exposure. In this day and age, there's a heightened risk of concern, for skin cancer. And so more and more we are using things to protect ourselves, whether it's shade, whether it's staying indoor, or whether it's using a sunscreen lotion. Those things are also preventing our bodies from actually making or producing vitamin D3 when we're out in the sun. Darker skin as well, because of the natural complexion of the skin, the components within a darker skin, it is harder for the body to be able to make vitamin D3. And then, I'll kind of stop there, but also elderly and overweight is a concern in making vitamin D3. And so really, when we look at the prevalence of deficiency, high rates of deficiency have been reported in children, especially obese and dark-skinned children, and in most adults. In fact, researchers believe that at least 50% of the world's population is vitamin D deficient. And so this, not only does vitamin D provide an extreme benefit to the body itself and lend itself to helping the cardiovascular system, but it's a common deficiency found all over the world that we need to make sure that we're taking care of our bodies. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is vitamin K. Vitamin K2 specifically is found within ProArgi-9 Plus. Vitamin K2, or vitamin K itself, has been shown and been known for some time to help with blood coagulation. And so obviously that is a very important component within the body, an important function to be able to have the ability for our bodies to coagulate blood when it's necessary. But also a very important function of vitamin K is that it does help to strengthen the blood vessels. As it says here, blood vessel wall health. It helps to strengthen the cardiac cells within the heart. And so that, if you know about the heart, which most of us do, the heart is an incredible organ, but it works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we hope that it will never stop. And so it's so vital and so important that we take care of our heart, especially the muscles, as they have to pump the blood throughout the entire body every single second of every single day. And so vitamin K provides that strengthening component for the muscles of the heart. In addition, an important part of vitamin K is that it also helps with the absorption of calcium into the bones. And so, in fact, there have been studies that have shown vitamin K, when combined with vitamin D, increases the ability of the body to be able to absorb calcium into the bones, as if in lieu of just using the two of them separate. And so we have combined vitamin K2 and vitamin D3 to be able to lend, or to be able to give the body that benefit of increasing the absorption of calcium into the bones and keeping it out of the arteries, which is so important. Now, this is something that I already explained, but it goes back to, this is just another benefit or another competitive advantage, if you will, of Synergy Worldwide when we're talking about ProArgi-9 Plus. There has been research, scientists, doctors that have poured hours and months and years of time into understanding these products, understanding these nutritional supplements, and knowing specifically what will benefit the body best by combining what sort of ingredients to give optimal benefit. Now, another ingredient that I'll touch on just briefly is resveratrol, and this is also known as red wine extract. So the resveratrol has been shown to provide anti-aging effects within the body, specifically relating to the cardiovascular system. And so this is just another one of the ingredients that, combined with L-arginine and L-citrulline and vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 that provides a really powerful effect and a powerful benefit to the cardiovascular system. And so Synergy, we truly believe that all supplements, and I hope you do too by the time we're done with this training, but all supplements are not created equal. They are not, and we know that. But one thing that you can count on at Synergy Worldwide is you can count on our products, and you can count on the label claims. And that is something that that needs to be understood, that within the nutritional supplement industry, because it really is an unregulated industry as far as the label claims that are made and the verification of such label claims, there are often times, if you don't know who is producing your product, if you go into a general health food store, if you go into a grocery store and pull a product off the shelf, if you don't know who really produced your product, you may not be able to guarantee that the label claims that are made on the labels of those products will be 100% accurate. In fact, we have done tests within our own labs where we have discovered this to be the case in some products that we have tested. But with Synergy Worldwide and with ProArginine Plus, every single label claim that is made, every vitamin percentage that is made, will be guaranteed through the life of that product, through the expiration date that has been put on that product. And that is something that, again, sets us apart from the competition. Now, another thing that I'd like to point out is this important certification, the NSF certification that Nature Sunshine and Synergy Worldwide were able to receive. Nature Sunshine in 2009, and in fact, Synergy Worldwide was in 2010. But this is a huge step in having credibility as a manufacturer and showing the time that we take and the resources that we use and the investment that we make in ensuring that we create and that we manufacture safe and healthy products. In fact, as part of the certification process, Nature Sunshine and Synergy Worldwide state-of-the-art manufacturing facility underwent an extensive audit by NSF staff. Now, NSF personnel examined Nature Sunshine production equipment, policies and procedures, and manufacturing processes. And to maintain this certification, Synergy Worldwide ensures superior product quality. Now, an independent company has examined these facilities and validated such claims. Every year, to maintain the certification, Nature Sunshine and Synergy Worldwide will undergo a yearly NSF audit that will help ensure that we remain at the forefront of the nutritional supplement industry. And so that is another thing that sets us apart, another thing that gives us a competitive advantage. Our manufacturing facility is NSF certified, and that, to me, is something that is very, very important. The next thing that I'd like to highlight and talk about, and we'll spend a little bit of time on this topic, is quality assurance. Now, within quality assurance itself, there is an annual budget of nearly $2 million. And let me just clarify that as with Nature Sunshine products and with Synergy Worldwide, this budget has never once been asked to be cut or sacrificed. We've never cut corners, and we have always invested the time and the money and the resources into the quality assurance process of our products. That is something that we stand by, and that is something that we will always ensure. In addition, within our quality assurance departments, within our different labs, there are over 600 unique tests that we can use at our disposal to be able to test our raw materials and to test our finished products. Each year, we perform between 40 and 50 on-site audits. Now, whether this is to go find out, to go audit a new vendor, or if it's to go and check on the vendors that we currently have. Every single year there's between 40 and 50 on-site audits that we will go and perform just to make sure that the raw materials that we are getting from our vendors, that they continue to adhere to the requirements that we have for our raw materials. And then one point on this last bullet, I'll just take a second to explain something. It says that we reject about 5% of raw materials that we receive. And let me just explain something so that this has more of an impact. When we receive our raw materials from our third-party vendors, they certify that those raw materials are indeed as we have specified, that they are as pure, as potent, and as safe, and that they come from the part of the plant or wherever we have designated that they are 100% what we have requested. And so at Synergy Worldwide and with Nature Sunshine products, we go a step above and beyond, and we will test those raw materials for ourselves to confirm that indeed they are what we have requested. And that again, is another competitive advantage of Synergy Worldwide. I would beg to differ that there are many companies out there that would be satisfied with a certification from the vendor who you have audited before that says that we certify that this is what you have requested. But nonetheless, we go above and beyond, and we spend the money, we spend the time, and we spend the resources to test those raw materials. And each and every year, there's about 5% of raw materials that we receive that we actually reject. And so that is what we mean when we say we guarantee what is in our product. We know with 100% certainty that the raw materials that we are using are of the highest quality, and as a direct result of that, we are giving you the very highest quality end product possible. Now, within the testing itself, each lot of every raw material and finished product is sampled and tested by quality control. And so every raw material that comes in, as I just explained, is tested. And also, throughout the process, when we have a finished batch of a specific product, if we're talking about right now with ProArgi-9 Plus, every finished batch must be tested by quality assurance or by quality control. And they will test for purity, for safety, and for potency. Now, I give you, this is a picture that I just want to explain briefly, but this is just an example. We don't necessarily use watermelon within ProArgi-9 Plus. However, for those of you who do not know this, but within watermelon is found L-citrulline. You can find L-citrulline naturally within watermelon. And if you were to look at a watermelon, about 90% of the volume of the watermelon is found within the red part. That is the most tasty. That's what we eat. That's what we love. But in fact, the most potent, the highest concentration of L-citrulline is actually found within the white part of the watermelon. And so, as an example, we know we don't do this because I've already said where we get our L-citrulline from. But if we were to request L-citrulline from a vendor and we wanted it from watermelon, I would beg to differ that many vendors might perhaps select the L-citrulline from the red part because that is the greater volume that you can extract. You have more volume there within that watermelon to get the L-citrulline from the red part. However, the most potent part is found within the white part of the watermelon. And so what I'm getting to is, as a company, if you are requesting L-citrulline and that it comes specifically from the white part of the watermelon, unless you're testing for that, you're not going to really know. And so with our testing procedures, we know exactly where our raw materials are coming from, and that they are coming from the sources and from the location of that source that we have specified. Now, to look at this next picture, first off, there are 4 different labs within quality assurance. There's the herb lab, the vitamin lab, the micro lab, and the mineral lab. And within each of these labs, there are specific tests that are carried out to verify, as I said before, purity, safety, and potency of our different raw materials and our finished products. And so within one of these labs, there is a test, there's a machine where we have the ability of breaking down a sample and testing it up to parts per trillion. Now, to give you an idea of what parts per trillion really means, to put that in perspective, if you look at this picture, this is a picture of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Now, to locate parts per trillion, that would be like trying to find 1 drop of water in 25 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And so that is the degree of certainty, that is the degree of specification that we have, that we're able to test and ensure the quality of our products. On this slide, it says 262 reasons why ProArgi-9 Plus is the best L-arginine supplement. And the 262 actually represents the amount of tests that are performed on ProArgi-9 Plus from start to finish. And to me, that is incredible. There are 262 tests that are performed on ProArgi-9 Plus from the time that it starts to get put together with its raw materials to the time that it is completed in a finished product, when the products that you receive in your homes that are sent from Synergy Worldwide. And the great thing is if on test number 262, if that test does not pass, that entire batch is rejected. And so if one reason is not enough, I hope that 262 reasons are enough to know that truly ProArgi-9 Plus is the best L-arginine supplement out there. And so with that, I just want to assure everyone that is on this training, that is listening to this right now, that your future, that our future together at Synergy Worldwide is very, very bright. As a company, we promise to always continue to innovate. We will continue to look for the best things, the best products to be able to come out with, the best formulations possible to give our body the optimal results. And as a company, there's plenty of room to grow. We have so much work to do and so many more people to help as we try and reach out and share ProArgi-9 Plus with people all over the world. We're committed to heart health as a company, and we know that our products are making differences in people's lives, in families' lives, and in the lives of communities all over the world. And so thank you very much for participating in this training. I hope that our goal has been met, that you are now even more confident, that you have learned new things, and that you can go out and share ProArgi-9 Plus with the confidence that what you have is truly the best in the world. Thank you.